Hey everyone, this is Ashley with Skyhouse Herbs, and I want to welcome you to my channel. Please listen. I will be talking a lot about plant spirit medicine. I have a new intro that I am going to be recording, so I hope that you will subscribe to this channel, follow me, click on notifications, and like this video and others if you find it helpful in your journey as you explore the deeper aspects of plant medicine beyond just what we see on the shelves. So, welcome in. Today, we're going to talk about Black Cohosh and specifically breaking ancestral trauma bonds. And this medicine is so beautiful. I can't wait to share with you some of the deeper teachings that I've experienced, that I've seen my clients and friends experience while taking this plant. And I hope that it encourages you to try this as a medicine if what I'm saying resonates with you. I also wanted to mention that I am teaching again. So I was on a sabbatical, but I am now teaching. If you want to look at my teaching schedule, please go to my website, skyhouseherbs.com. There's going to be a link in the description. And I'll be teaching at the Good Medicine Confluence in Colorado in July. And I'll also be teaching at the Parliament of World Religions Conference in Chicago. So hop over to my website, follow the links. You can see more. I'm also teaching Roots and Spheres, a course that blends plant medicine and astrology. And that link is also in the description in my YouTube or at skyhouseherbs.com. So without further ado, let's talk about this plant, Black Cohosh. Now, this plant, Simicifuga racemosa, or also Actea racemosa, because it had its name reclassified, is a plant in the Ranunculaceae family. So this is the buttercup family, which is home to a lot of toxic plants, but also some pretty powerful medicines like pasque flower, also called windflower or pulsatilla. And these two are cousins, but there's not a ton of plants that are medicinal in this family. But what makes Black Cohosh a very particular medicine is that it doesn't require much to make big, huge, dramatic shifts. Now, with this plant, we use the root. Ideally, you make a tincture with the fresh root. That's the best, you'll get the best taste. You can the way that I think of the taste of the fresh root in a tincture form is like it's like the mossy undergrowth of the woodland forest. You can actually like taste the forest floor in this medicine. It's very earthy. It's a little bit sweet. It's a little bit acrid. And what it does for the body is it relaxes the central nervous system and works specifically on the cerebrospinal fluid, which is this starlight like fluid, kind of it's clear but viscous and has these little flecks of looks like starlight in them that runs through the central channel of the spine. And it conducts information, it conducts electricity, and it is responsible for our ability to have our whole system hum and vibrate and communicate in unison. And when there's kinks in that cerebrospinal fluid, pardon me, we can have issues with pain, with cognition, and just general well-being. So this plant medicine moves that cerebrospinal fluid. It's very good for whiplash, neck injury, scoliosis, areas where, or places where maybe the fluids get kinked up. But if we think about that metaphorically, it's also a great medicine for where our life force gets kinked up, where there's knots in the hoses of our vitality. And I would say specifically around our sexuality and specifically around pleasure and where and how we receive pleasure. So if those are places where you feel like, I could use a little bit of help in those areas, then you might want to consider working with Black Cohosh as a medicine. It's also a really good medicine for the joints, the muscles, and for pain and tension in the body. Anytime that we're holding a lot of tension and again, creating these blocks in the flow of our energy systems, we can experience a decrease in vitality and life force. So it can be really good for that. It also is a hormonal medicine, a hormone modulator. So it can be really nice for supporting us through menopause or with different menstrual issues, and it can be used for men too. It's not just a women's herb. So for men it also can just help with estrogen balance, which can be something that men can struggle with too. If you want to learn more about the plant specifically, I recorded a whole video called Herb of the Month, Black Cohosh. And that one, I talk about the science, the chemistry, all of the historical uses of this medicine. So check out that video under the playlists of Herb of the Month, because in this talk, I'm going to now talk about stories. I'm going to tell you my experience with this plant, and I'm going to talk about 3 ways this plant can help you really experience and look at how we can break these ancestral trauma bonds. So, the first way that this plant really works in our bodies and psyches is through the dream world. And I can't even tell you how many friends, students, clients, and myself have had really vivid, clear dreams that have been very specific in giving us messages. For example, one of my good friends started taking Black Cohosh because I was just telling her, I was like, it's a really good plant to take right now to work on some of this type of stuff. And she had 3 dreams. It's interesting. It's like I feel like for whatever reason, it's like this plant seems to come through in groups of 3. So she had 3 dreams. One was like a message from the plant itself, which was, take it, the first message for her was, pay attention to your words. Your words matter. And the way you're describing what is going on with you is changing what's going on with you. So think about how you're talking about your process. And she was like, oh my gosh, that is exactly true, because I've been saying that I'm crazy, like I've been delusional and I'm having these, she's the way she was framing some of these breakthroughs was in the negative, and treating these breakthroughs as if they were not real or not valuable. So that was a huge shift. And then she had a few others. My husband had a group of 3 dreams about some ancestral trauma coming down his patrilineal line. And it was very insightful, and it allowed him to make some huge changes in his daily routines. And yeah, for me, I had 3 dreams also that were very specific around being able to see the women in my life and the way their coping strategies gave rise to my own coping mechanisms, which I'm realizing are not helpful or ideal for my life. So huge, huge breakthroughs. I could probably tell you a million other stories of students and clients who've had these breakthrough dreams that have really, really given them insight. One of them had a dream about her grandfather who told her some like really important message she needed to know. So it's pretty amazing. So you can, if you want to work with this plant in the dream space, take 3 drops. And I know that sounds like it's not much, but you have to trust me. The way this medicine works as a tincture is deep, and it goes in. It's not just the chemicals that create the shifts in us, it's the energy of the plant. So you have to trust me on that. So 3 drops, take it before bed. It could be half an hour before bed, an hour before bed. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be like exactly before bed, but just sometime before you go to sleep. And then as you're falling asleep, just think to the medicine. Think about it. Say, hello, Black Cohosh. I am open to your insights, give me some clarity maybe around a particular issue, or just show me what I need to see. One of the names of this plant is black snake root. So it is like the root itself looks like all of these black coiled snakes up, all wound up together. And one of the ways that Matthew Wood, one of my herb teachers, speaks about it is it's like almost like the medicine untangles the dark black under kind of subconscious or unconscious fears and tensions within us, so that we can start to see what it is we're dealing with. And that's, I think, one of the hugest benefits that I've experienced with this plant medicine is seeing unconscious patterns in a completely new way, and then feeling like I now have the capacity to make changes. Whereas before, for whatever reason, without the plant medicine, I think because it relaxes the tension in our bodies, so it gives us insight. And then because we feel at ease and we feel safe, we feel like we have what it takes to take that step into a new way of behaving. The second thing is tension and trauma. So this plant has a really amazing way of helping with looking at where we hold tension, how the tension arose in us, why we're carrying it there, and maybe the traumatic experiences that have been associated with that from the past. So this is again, this is that idea of ancestral wounds and ancestral karma. It gives us the insight to be able to go into those places. And this can happen not just, the first one was really dreams. The second one is really in the body. So we'll start to feel maybe like, oh, my neck's hurting again. Why is my neck always get tight? And then, well, what was I just thinking about? And what is the pattern of what did my mom hold tension there? Did my grandmother hold tension there? Did my, where is this pattern of tension arising from? Am I trying to control too much? Am I holding the weight of the world on my head, or on my shoulders? And it's like, the weight of trying to control everything is causing this tension? Or am I being too stiff and rigid in the way I'm holding myself? Am I not giving myself enough time to move more fluidly in my body and mentally? So it can really give us these insights through the physical body. And I also want to say through our sexual energies, because that's our body too. Our sexual and our sensual energies give us this. Rhea, come here. Sorry, my dog just wandered off, and sometimes I get a little nervous because she's an old girl. Good girl, come here. So let's talk about that for a minute. Not my dog, but this, this sexual, sensual energy. So Black Cohosh was considered to be a women's medicine or like a womb remedy. And that's how it was used by the native indigenous people of North America, is it prepared the body for birth. It was used as um, a uterine preparer, or to sort of help open and ripen the cervix, making it ready for birth. And so if we think about this from a more metaphorical level, it opens up and softens us to birth. And that can be creative birth, like through work projects, through relationships, but also through our own, our sensual body, the way that we pleasure ourselves or receive pleasure. And it's such a taboo subject, I think, in our culture. We don't talk about that very much, or it's shamed, or it's pushed to the side, or it's overly indulged in, which is, I think, also a problem, where we over sexualize the body or over sexualize women. But there's a sensual truth that is quiet and personal. And I really think that Black Cohosh gives us access to what is my own personal experience and personal needs around a pleasurable experience, or around my pleasure body. So you can work with Black Cohosh and move and dance. It's a really good medicine for just putting on some, whatever your dance music might be. If it's trance dance, or like some sort of hypnotic jam, or like flute music, whatever it might be. And just give yourself some time to roll around on the floor, to move your body and stretch in ways that maybe you haven't given yourself permission to do. It can also be a really good one to take before lovemaking, just to open yourself to a little bit more pleasure, to be a little more curious about what sexual pleasure might feel like for you. And it's gentle medicine. I think a lot of the students, when we were doing this in our Roots and Spheres course, they were really worried about, like, am I going to be able to handle it? Is it going to be too much? Is it going to be scary? Like, I don't want to, yeah, I'm afraid of this energy. And I'll just say this, is that Black Cohosh is gentle, gentle. It's not going to push you any place that feels unsafe. Rather the opposite. It's going to create a safe place for you to get back in your body and have an embodied experience of pleasure. Because sometimes, I think for a lot of us that have experienced sexual trauma, when we start to go into those places, we kind of dissociate. We go into our head, we go into fantasy, we go into all of these mental, gymnastics to try to escape the vulnerability we might feel in our body. And what Black Cohosh can do for us is it can give us that reminder of safety, so that we can say, I'm going to go into that feeling and I'm going to just see what's there in the moment. I don't have to go anywhere beyond where I am, and where I am is enough. So that is such a powerful lesson and such powerful permission for us who have maybe not been able to be in our bodies for whatever reasons. The third thing that Black Cohosh has really taught me and has really worked on me with being in challenging situations is it's allowed me to be the calm in the eye of the storm. The truth is that life is messy, especially when you're going through periods of big growth. And if you're, a lot of us are in periods of big growth because of the major eclipses that have been happening in the sky, the lunar eclipse in Taurus and the solar eclipse in Scorpio, that we are, there's a lot of big change happening. And as that's happening, where are you? Where is the I? Where is the me in that? Are we getting tossed around by the waves and the wind and completely unaware of our center? And what Black Cohosh can do is it can help us locate ourselves in the storm. So it can say, "Oh, I'm right here. The storm is outside of me and I'm still okay. I have a self-regulated nervous system," which is really not that. It's like I say that as if that's an easy thing to do, but it's possible to regulate our own nervous systems to be calm, even in challenging situations. But it first starts with being in your body. So if you can't locate your body and how you're feeling, it's really hard to regulate your nervous system. So in the storm, whatever's going on, by having a plant ally like Black Cohosh that can get you in your body, help you regulate your nervous system, calming it down, grounding it, centering it, feeling yourself being very rooted, that can give you the ability then to weather that storm with a lot more grace. And I had jury duty this week. Oh my gosh. It was quite the storm. I would show up at 8:15 every morning. I'd get assigned to a case. I'd have to wait. We'd go, and then before we even got into the room, the case would be dismissed or settled. So then we go back to the pool and then wait for the next assignment. And that happened 4 times for me. And I thought I was gonna go mad, and I was on jury duty I was scheduled for 2 weeks. You have to stay open. And at the end of day 3, I was just really trying to stay centered. I take my Black Cohosh, and I was like, "Okay, here I am back in this room waiting." And that's all I can do is just sit here and wait, and I have the choice whether to be mad, to feel like it's unfair, to feel like the victim, or I can just choose to say, I am here and it is okay. And I have enough tools inside of me and resources inside of me. And I have enough books to read and magazines. Like I have enough that I am okay. And I'm not going to create more drama in a already hard situation. And so I was really proud of myself. And I really feel like the Black Cohosh helped me with that self regulation so that I could not spin out and get swept up. Like I saw a lot of other people. I mean, it was a pool of 100 people being tossed around through case to case and this and that. And some people were getting really mad and irritable. And I recognized that. I was like, yeah, I get that response. And I'm choosing not to let myself have that response because it's not good for me. And I'm sure it doesn't feel good for the people around me. So that's so that was a takeaway. But again, I really think this plant is good for people that want to go in, that want to do some work, that want to see old bonds and ancestral and karmic cycles and patterns, and that want to start to untangle themselves from these patterns. It's a really gentle, very sweet, very supportive plant ally that can help us in all of these areas. So let me know what you think. Please, again, like and subscribe if this was helpful. And check out my events page on my website, skyhouseherbs.com, to see where I'll be next. And let me know your thoughts and comments. Have you ever taken Black Cohosh before? What was your experience? And if you've tried it in this particular way, what did you notice? What were your takeaways from working with this plant? And of course, if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them as well. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see y'all again soon.